After working triple shifts to afford my daughter's birthday, I walked in just as my wife whispered, "Daddy's pathetic, but at least he pays." The kids laughed. I just smiled, left the gifts on the table, and disappeared. Today, her voicemail is flooded with 21 desperate "please answer" messages. Yesterday, I worked a triple shift so I could afford my daughter's birthday party. I came home with sore feet, numb fingers, and a bag of gifts I'd been picking out for weeks, things she'd circled in catalogs, pointed at in windows, whispered about when she thought no one was listening. I walked in quietly, thinking I'd surprise them. The cake was already out, half-eaten. Wrapping paper shredded on the floor. Balloons drooping. I wasn't early. I was late. I stood just outside the living room. They hadn't seen me yet. My wife was laughing, holding a glass of wine, sitting cross-legged on the floor while the kids played with their new toys. That's when I heard it. "Daddy's pathetic," she whispered, loud enough for them to hear. "But at least he pays." My daughter giggled. My son followed. They didn't know I was there. I didn't say a word. I just set the bag of gifts down on the kitchen table, turned around, and walked out the front door. That was 13 days ago. Today, her voicemail is flooded with 21 messages that all start the same way. "Please answer. Let me tell you something about humiliation. It doesn't hit all at once. It leaks in slowly like cold water under a locked door. You think you're standing tall, and suddenly your knees buckle. Not because the blow was hard, but because it was real. I slept in my car that first night. Not because I didn't have options. I've got a brother 2 towns over. A spare key to my cousin's place. But I needed the silence. The suffocating stillness of knowing nobody was waiting for me. I played her voicemail on a loop. "Please, just come home." It was a joke. It got taken out of context. "They're just kids, they didn't mean it." And the kicker. "We care about you, please come home." Love? That word. She flung it around like rice at a wedding. You don't say "Daddy's pathetic" with love in your mouth. You don't laugh when your daughter giggles at it unless you're used to performing cruelty as comedy. I checked the timestamps on the photos she posted that night. Filtered selfies with my daughter. Matching outfits. Caption, "Girls' night with my mini Me Too arts #blessed #momlife." I looked for myself in the margins. Not a trace. The first few days I didn't go to work. Didn't call in. Didn't explain. I didn't have to. When I finally opened my phone, I had texts from my boss. "Everything okay? You need anything? You're not the only one who's been there, man. Take the time." I didn't deserve him. That's the thing that stings the most, realizing how many strangers had been kinder to me than the people I built my life around. I started watching the house. Don't ask me why. Something about seeing it from the outside, the porch light I'd installed flickering like a dying heartbeat. The garden I'd built full of weeds now. My son's bike in the driveway rusting. The front window with that crooked curtain. At night, when she thought I wasn't coming back, she'd turn on the baby monitor app and play old recordings for comfort. I'd hear them through the cracked window. My voice reading bedtime stories. Her voice laughing at jokes I used to tell. The kids calling out for me in their sleep. I don't know if she played them for them or for herself. But they never once called me. Not once. I found out about the other guy on day 6. It wasn't a full betrayal, not yet. But it was enough. She'd been having lunch with him. Just a friend from work, she claimed. My daughter called him uncle. There were text messages. I wasn't looking for them. But when you share a cloud account, sometimes the universe delivers. He called her sweetheart. She called him rescue. Rescue from what? Me? The man paying the mortgage? Folding the laundry? Cleaning vomit at 2 a.m.? Holding the family together with calloused hands and skipped meals? On day 9, I returned the gifts. All but one. A pink karaoke mic that lights up when you sing. My daughter had asked for it twice. I kept it in the trunk of my car. Sometimes I turned it on just to see the lights. Just to remember that at one point she wanted something from me. Today is day 13. She knows I've been gone too long for this to be a tantrum. She started texting my friends. My coworkers. Even my boss. They all tell her the same thing. He's okay, just taking a break. But time isn't what I'm taking. I'm taking space. Taking notes. Taking control back. I visited a lawyer yesterday. Learned some things. Like how a man can be erased from his children's lives while still footing the bill. How laughter from a mother's lips can become poison in a courtroom. How the words, "Daddy's pathetic," can carry weight when spoken in front of children. Logged in a custody report. It's not about revenge. Not yet. It's about exposure. I want her to feel the moment when the narrative slips through her fingers. When the world that clapped for her #momlife unraveling starts asking questions she doesn't want to answer. When they realize the man she mocked was the one keeping the floor from collapsing. And it will collapse. That's not a threat. That's gravity. Edit 1. To those saying, maybe she didn't mean it. I say this, the people who don't mean it don't double down. They don't laugh when their children laugh. They don't post selfies while the wounds are still wet. She meant it. And if she didn't stop it. Which, in the end, is the same thing. Date 1. I waited 13 days to say a word. Not to punish her. Not to frighten her. Just to see what she'd do in a vacuum. What a person looks like when their reflection doesn't arrive on schedule. Turns out she buckles fast. The first 4 days, she was smug. I know because she posted pictures. Family brunches, the kids painting pumpkins, her smiling like grief didn't live there. She captioned one photo, just us this week's smiling face with hearts #quality time. Like I'd vanished for golf. Not disappeared completely, but somewhere around day 7 the filter cracked. My cousin texted me a screenshot. Her on Facebook asking if anyone had heard from James. Her tone, performative concern. She said I was going through something. Said she was trying to give him space. Then she added, we all feel overwhelmed sometimes, but we come home because we care. I reread that sentence 10 times. Felt my stomach turn inside out. You come home for love? No, you come home when love lives there. And right now, that house is just drywall and memory. On day 10, she finally called my brother. Asked if I was with him. He told her the truth. He checks in every day. He's safe. But no, he's not coming back yet. She cried. Said she was scared. My brother, who is kinder than I am, asked if she wanted to talk. She said, I didn't mean it like that. She still thinks it's about what she said. Not that she said it with them. In front of them. To them. She doesn't understand the infection she's spread. I drove past the house again today. The kids were outside. My daughter had chalk all over her jeans. My son was kicking a deflated soccer ball against the fence. They looked fine. But when she stepped out onto the porch to call them in, I saw it. The fatigue. The cracking nerves. She hasn't slept. I know because the outside lights were still on. Middle of the afternoon. She always told me I was the one who forgot those things. But here she is, 2 weeks without me, and the little bones of the house are beginning to show. I finally called her this morning. One ring. She answered like she'd been holding her breath for years. James? Oh my God. Where are you? Are you okay? The kids. I didn't let her finish. Do you remember what you said? Silence. I was tired, she said eventually. You'd been gone all day. I was joking. They didn't understand. They understood enough to laugh. I didn't mean for them to laugh, she whispered. She trailed off. I wanted her to admit it. Not that she was tired. Not that she was overwhelmed. I wanted her to admit she meant it. Even if it was buried under 10 years of resentment and unspoken boredom. I didn't get that. Instead, she said something worse. I've been under a lot of stress. You get to disappear and make a point. I don't get that luxury. And right there was the fracture I'd been waiting for. Because it was never about cruelty. It was about control. She didn't say, I'm sorry. She said, it's not fair. Because in her mind, my absence wasn't pain. It was strategy. A game I was playing better than she could. After we hung up, she left me a string of voicemails. Not begging. Not sweet. Just escalating desperation. This isn't helping the kids. You're teaching them abandonment. You're acting like a child. Each one chipped away at what little regret she'd started to feel. By voicemail 7, she'd snapped, I hope you're proud of yourself. This is really hard on all of us. Ruining it. The family that sat in a circle and laughed while I stood outside of it. That family? Let me be clear. I didn't leave to make her suffer. I left because I finally saw the house from the outside and realized I'd been living under a roof where love was conditional, and jokes were daggers. I left because my daughter giggled when her mother called me pathetic. Not because she's cruel. Because she's learning. And I'll be damned if that's the vocabulary I leave her with. I'm not sure what comes next. But I did speak with a child psychologist today. I told her what happened. Word for word. She said something I haven't stopped thinking about. When a child hears a parent degrade the other, they don't hear your father is pathetic. They hear, you come from something worthless. That's what I'm trying to undo. Not for me. For them. Before they believe it. Before it roots. Because if they believe her version of me, even for a second, it becomes part of their identity. And I won't let that happen. I haven't decided whether I'm going back. But tomorrow, I'm recording a video. A message. For my kids. Nothing angry. Nothing cruel. Just a quiet reminder of who I am. A voice they'll remember. A truth they can hold on to. Because right now, all they've got is the version of me she wrote after a glass of wine and too much resentment. And I'm going to give them something stronger. Something real. I'm not gone. I'm just rebuilding. Update 2 coming soon. It gets colder from here. Update 2. I sent the video this morning. 37 seconds. No theatrics. No rehearsed monologue. Just me, sitting in my car, soft light through the windshield. I looked into the camera and said, "Hi, I'm okay. I miss you. I'm thinking about you every single day. I hope you're brushing your teeth without being told. I hope you're helping each other with zippers and shoelaces. I hope you're still singing loud in the car, even if I'm not there to hear it. I'll see you soon. That's all." I sent it to her number, knowing she'd show them, curious what her face looked like when she hit play, if her hands shook, if the silence afterward said more than I ever could. She didn't reply, but 2 hours later, I got a text from an unfamiliar number. It was my daughter, a photo of the pink karaoke mic I'd left behind. The caption, "I found it." That was it. No emojis, no hearts, just, "I found it." It broke me in half. Because I didn't tell anyone I kept that mic, didn't tell her it existed. But somehow she knew to look. Later that night, I got a call from her mother. Tired voice. Controlled. Measured. She said she wanted to talk. Not about me. About custody. She said the word like it was an inconvenience. "We should get ahead of this," she said. "If you're not coming back soon, we need a plan. I can't have you popping in and out." I laughed. Actually laughed out loud. Because there it was, the shift. From confusion to negotiation. From regret to risk management. She doesn't want a co-parent. She wants a firewall. I told her I'd be filing first. She went quiet, then said, "I'm not the enemy, James." "No, you're not the enemy. You're the lesson. You're the moment they learned that mockery can wear a mother's face. And that's something no lawyer can redact." I found a new place. Not an apartment. Not a motel. A house. Small. Simple. Clean. 2 bedrooms. A backyard. A dented swing set that creaks in the wind. It smells like drywall and potential. Like a future built from scratch. I called it the reset. My lawyer said I was moving fast. I said I had to. Because I'm not just trying to win custody. I'm trying to offer something she can't. Peace. No tension. No teeth behind smiles. No shame dressed as sarcasm. Just peace. Tomorrow I'm serving her the papers. Custody petition. Documentation of emotional harm. Character witnesses. My lawyer advised against including the audio clip. You know, the one. "Daddy works a lot to support us. But I'm including it. Because it's not for the judge. It's for the kids. So when they're older, when they ask what happened, I can look them in the eye and say, this is when I stopped letting someone narrate our lives for us. This is when I stopped being pathetic. And started becoming dangerous." Update 3. The papers were delivered yesterday. I waited across the street in my car, engine off, watching the front door through a sheet of rain. The courier knocked once. She opened the door barefoot, holding a mug with both hands. The kids were behind her, crouched over a puzzle on the floor. She took the envelope like it was a flyer. Didn't look at it. Didn't ask what it was. Until the door clicked shut. That's when the screaming started. I didn't flinch. Didn't feel vindicated. Just numb. The kind of numb that comes after holding a burn too long and realizing your skin's stopped sending signals. Later that night, she called. No rage this time. Just wet, breathless sobs. "You're going to destroy me," she said. "Why are you doing this?" I didn't say anything at first. Let the silence answer. Then I said, "You destroyed yourself. I'm just documenting the debris." She hung up. This morning, my lawyer called. Said she finally responded to the petition. Not with denial, but with a counterclaim. She's accusing me of abandonment, emotional neglect, avoiding communication. She says the birthday incident was a desperate attempt to connect. She says I chose to run instead of repair. She's painting me as the volatile one, the unstable one, the liability. She even included a printout of an old Reddit post I made last year venting about exhaustion, work stress, and the fear of becoming invisible in my own house. She's framing it as proof of emotional detachment. I laughed when I read that. She's mining my depression like it's ammunition. Maybe it is. But you know what else it is? Context. Proof that I was drowning quietly while she choreographed jokes about my worth. My lawyer says we can fight it. Easily. But I told her we wouldn't just fight. We'd expose. I've started compiling everything. Photos of bruises, not from her. From work. From falling asleep standing up because I couldn't stop taking shifts to keep the lights on. Screenshots of texts. Me, can we talk? Her, not now. Just let me breathe without you for 5 minutes. Recordings from therapy, my solo sessions where I told the counselor I felt like a ghost in my own family. Video of the kids calling for me when I wasn't home, then falling silent when she said he's working. Again. Maybe if he loved us more than his job, he'd be here. You think a kid forgets that? No. They swallow it. Carry it like a stone in the stomach. Here's what she didn't predict. That in leaving, I'd finally find clarity. That I'd stop being afraid of the word war. That peace, when weaponized, is the most devastating tool of all. My daughter sent another message today. A voice memo. Just 5 words. I wore your hoodie today. It crushed me. Because I remember that hoodie. The old red one she used to steal off the couch and wrap herself in like armor. She didn't ask for permission. She just found it in the laundry basket and claimed it. Like she was trying to remember what warmth felt like when it didn't come with conditions. I replied with a photo of the swing set in my new backyard. No words. Just the image. An invitation. A promise. A way out. The custody hearing is set for 3 weeks from now. She's ramping up. Posting cryptic stories on Instagram. Painting herself as the abandoned wife, the sad-eyed mother, the woman holding it all together while her unstable husband runs from responsibility. The likes are pouring in. Pity is addictive. But the thing about social media? It's not a courtroom. And likes don't overwrite timelines. I've got receipts. And I've got patience. Final update. The courtroom was colder than I expected. Not in temperature, just in tone. The kind of cold that lives behind closed doors and smiling judges. You sit there, pretending you're not unraveling while your entire life gets parsed into bullet points and visitation charts. She wore beige, the color of neutrality. Her hair done in loose waves like she Googled sympathetic mom courtroom look an hour before arriving. She didn't look at me. Not once. But she knew I was looking. And that was enough. The judge asked routine questions. Custody. Employment. Living arrangements. When it was my turn, I said what I'd rehearsed 100 times. I'm not trying to take them from her. I'm trying to bring them back to something real. He asked what that meant. I slid the USB across the table. Listen to the first file, I said. That's what they're learning from her. He did. Right there, in front of the clerk, the lawyers, and a half-dozen people pretending this wasn't a funeral in slow motion. Her voice crackled out of the speaker. Daddy works a lot to support us. A child giggled. Then silence. Then another child echoing that laugh. He stopped the audio before it finished. She shrank. I didn't gloat. Didn't blink. Just folded my hands and waited. Because this wasn't a gotcha moment. It was a mirror. And she finally saw her reflection. Her lawyer scrambled. Spoke in rushed tones. Said it was out of context. That it was a stressful day. That humor is sometimes misunderstood in domestic settings. The judge didn't buy it. He didn't yell. Didn't scold. He just said, children don't misinterpret tone. They inherit it. We didn't walk out with full custody. That's not how these stories end. We walked out with joint. But the tide has shifted. I get weekends, holidays, and the school year split. And a court-appointed mediator is reviewing all co-parenting interactions. But more than that, I got a moment. One pure moment. When we stepped outside, the wind hit hard. I turned to go. Then I heard it. James? I looked back. She was standing in the shade of the courthouse archway, shaking. I didn't know you recorded that. I nodded. I didn't mean to. It was just on. I didn't even remember until after I left. Her eyes went wet. I was tired. I thought I was being funny. You weren't. I know. She hesitated. Then, do you hate me? That's the part one didn't expect. Because I didn't. Not really. I hated the version of her that night. The voice. The smile. The way she made me a punchline in front of my own children. But her? I just didn't believe in her anymore. And that's worse than hate. It's absence. So I said the only thing I could. I hope they always treat others with kindness. She covered her mouth. Didn't cry. Didn't speak. Just stood there. Watching me disappear all over again. 2 weeks later, I picked them up for the first weekend. My son ran out first, dragging a plastic suitcase that thudded with every step. My daughter followed, hoodie sleeves too long, dragging the mic I left behind by its cord like a thread to some invisible anchor. She didn't smile. She didn't speak. She just held it up and whispered. I brought it. We spent the weekend quietly. I didn't ask questions. They didn't offer answers. We made pancakes. Burned the first batch. Laughed when the fire alarm screamed. We hung a hammock in the backyard. I showed them how to sweep for wasps before getting in. We planted a pepper plant. My son named it Kevin. Don't ask me why. That night, I found my daughter sitting in the swing, humming. The pink mic lit up beside her on the mulch like a beacon. She looked up and asked, why did you leave? I sat down on the ground beside her. Not on the swing. Just next to. And I said, sometimes when people say hurtful things, it's important to show you deserve respect. She looked down. Did I hurt you? That part broke me. More than the laughter. More than the voicemail. More than the empty house and the rain and the courtroom and the USB. That question. Because she meant it. She thought she hurt me. So I said, no, you didn't. But you saw someone do it. And I didn't want you to think that's how people who love you act. She nodded. Didn't cry. Just said okay. And got up. Later, after they were asleep, I sat in the backyard by myself. The hammock swayed in the wind. The pepper plant shivered in its little pot. I looked at the house. The warm yellow light bleeding through the curtains. And I felt it. Not peace. Not closure. Not revenge. Alignment. The quiet recognition that I can't undo the moment she mocked me in front of our kids. But I can build 1,000 better moments. One backyard swing at a time. Final note. She hasn't called since the hearing. Just texts to confirm drop-offs and pickups. Transactional. Clinical. And that's fine, because I don't need an apology anymore. I have the mic, the laugh, the silence that followed. And now, I have something better than an apology. I have their ears again. And one day, when they're older and they ask what happened, I'll show them the garden. And say, this is what we built when nobody was laughing anymore.